Hi, hope you are all safe and well. Welcome to lesson 4. Now, lesson 4 in drama is on drama conventions. Now, these are something that you probably have used quite a lot in your work or have seen a lot before on film, on TV, on stage shows that you have watched, and they're really, really useful to put into your own work. The reason being is they create some really interesting work to watch. So let's have a look through what we have got. So these are drama conventions. So what is a drama convention? A drama convention is a technique. So you might hear me a lot in lessons saying, right, what techniques have you used? That is one thing that I'm really looking for when you come into a practical space to make your performance slightly different to everybody else's. So a convention is a technique used all the time in drama. And it really does engage the audience in a performance. So when the technique is used repeatedly in drama, the audience recognise how significant that moment is. So you usually use a technique to show the audience something or make them aware of something going on. So it gives that audience that sense that is the moment I need to focus on. The stuff around it was important with background information, but that is the moment there that these actors and these characters need me to focus on. It's really effective to get the meaning of your story across to the audience, and we're always on stage for our audience. So we need to make sure that they are with us every moment and they understand what's going on. So why have them? So again, like I said, they're really, really effective to engage the audience and keep the performance interesting. You never want the audience to get bored. Like I'm sat here now talking at you. If I did that through an entire performance, the audience would get bored. I'm presuming after a few of these, you might be sat there getting a little bit bored. It's not an engaging performance. If you want to keep your audience engaged, you've got to mix things up a little bit. So hopefully this PowerPoint will keep you engaged. And I've tried really hard with my slides, so hopefully you will see, and it will keep you engaged throughout. So depending on which drama convention you use, you can say all you need to say, sometimes without saying a word. So I will hopefully explain that a little bit more as I'm going through. Okay, so different types of drama convention are freeze frames, and a lot of you I think will have used freeze frames before, Tableau, Flashback and Crosscutting. So the 4 we're going to look at today, and I really need you to understand what these are. So next year when you come into drama, you know what they are and you're just using them in your work. I really want to see all these techniques and all these conventions that we're talking about today really used in all the work that you are doing. Okay, so freeze frames. Giving you a couple of still images there. Now, a freeze frame can be called a still image. Basically, all it is doing is it's capturing a photograph. So imagine you've taken a photograph of an image and that is your freeze frame. A freeze frame should engage the audience enough to wonder what is going on there. Can I see a storyline starting to come out? So on some of them, you might not know what's happening. So the one on the end, they're using different levels, which are really interesting in freeze frames. And you can see some kind of struggle going on in the middle one. Now the first one that you can see, obviously they've used some props, they've used chairs. I'm guessing she's some kind of shark in the water and they're swimming away from her or towards her. So you get a storyline that starts to come through in a freeze frame, and that's all you're looking for, that spark of interest, that moment to capture the audience so that they look at your freeze frame and go, oh, that's interesting. It gives them a moment to look at each of the characters and figure out what's going on. So freeze frames can be really, really effective. Also, we use freeze frames in the drama studio to cue our blackouts. So to make sure the tech desk know we have finished that scene, and we're going to freeze just for a moment to make sure that tech are aware and we can move on to the next moment. Okay, a tableau. So a tableau may or may not be a word you've come across before. A tableau is a series of still images which tell a story. They explore a moment a little bit more. So for instance, look at this picture next to the writing there. That's still images looking at bullying. So you've got students up there with their fists clenched, and someone on the floor there showing maybe they're a lower status character. If they moved ever so slightly, so not massive movements, just gentle movements slightly, it would give you a real insight into the story. Maybe it will give you an insight into who the leader of that was and what had happened to cause this situation. This could also lead to thought tracking, which we're going to come on to next week. So, I'd like you to pause the video for a second. Your task, I'd like you to draw a storyboard of 3 still images based around the theme of bullying. These can be stick people, we're not looking for any artistic winners, but if you are brilliant at art, unlike me, then go for it. Identify just underneath each picture who each of the people are. You will need this next lesson, so please keep it with you as well. So pause the video for a second and have a go at that. Okay, hopefully you've done your storyboard now. Remember to keep that safe because we are going to use it next lesson, so really do keep that safe. Okay, a flashback, next convention. So a flashback or a flash forward can take the audience back or forward to a moment that holds real significance for them to understand more about the situation of the character. So it really gives you a chance. You might have had 3 scenes of a performance and you're wondering why the main character isn't a very nice person, or why the main character doesn't want to do something. You can't quite figure it out. That would be a perfect moment to put a flashback in. Give a moment that has happened to them, maybe from their childhood, from their past, that has made them this way. There'll be something in their past that has made them the character that they are. And showing the audience that gives a real insight into that character and can really help the audience either connect with the character, empathise with the character, or maybe dislike the character. We might think they're a really lovely person, and then we flash back to a time they weren't very nice, and we see a different side to that person. So a flashback is a really good way of engaging the audience a little bit more. Now, if you want a bit more clarity, I've attached a YouTube link there. So feel free to pause the video, you can make a note of that link. I think it's hyperlink for you to have a click on. And that is a scene from a Disney film, and it really gives an insight into how a flashback can be really effective. So feel free to have a look and a watch of that. It's only about a minute long. That's a really good one. It's from the film Ratatouille. So that's a good one to have a little watch at as well. Okay, that's a flashback. Okay, the last one we're going to look at today is cross-cutting. Now, cross-cutting is used to move between 2 or more scenes staged in the same space at the same time. So you'll have the stage in front of you and you'll have 2 scenes happening on either side of the stage. One side will remain frozen while the action goes on the other side, and then it will swap over. This directs the audience's focus, so the audience know what they're supposed to be watching at each time. If you've got a scene, for example, where you've got separate dialogue and we don't know what to watch, it can be quite confusing. So you need to have the dialogue in one side of the stage and then the other side frozen, and then switch it over. This means you can move in cross-cutting back and forward between separate locations and time frames. You have heard me use the term split scene before. Now, split scenes are always happening at exactly the same time. In cross-cutting, it can be in different times, so that's the slight difference there. Cross-cutting actually is a filming term, so something that you are using media studies as well. So those are the 4 drama conventions we've looked at today. Just to recap, there are freeze frames, tableau, flashback and cross-cutting. So remember to keep your storyboard for next week. You really, really need that. So take care of yourselves.